provides is a critical way WNYC is able to work free from fear or favor. Your business can support our work at sponsorship.wnyc.org.
On the next Brian Lehrer Show, our latest shop listener call-in as we invite WNYC listeners who sell holiday gifts to shout them out on the air as an alternative to the big box stores and very big websites. This time, it's for gifts under $50. Also, nutrition and politics icon Marion Nestle with a new edition of her classic book, What to Eat. It's called What to Eat Now. The Brian Lehrer Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on WNYC.
Governor Phil Murphy is facing one more controversy in his last month in office. He's yet to take a stand on a bill being fast-tracked through the legislature that would weaken the state watchdog who investigates corruption, waste, and fraud. I'm Nancy Solomon, and on the next Ask Governor Murphy, we'll find out whether he'll veto the bill and preserve the corruption-fighting unit for the next governor. And we'll take your calls. Ask Governor Murphy, tomorrow night at 7 on WNYC.
It is 6:51. You're listening to Morning Edition on WNYC. Marketplace Morning Report is next, and then later on Morning Edition, President Trump says voter concerns about affordability are, quote, a Democrat hoax. He's expected to address it at a rally today in Pennsylvania.
Democrats caused the affordability problem, and we're the ones that are fixing it. So it's a very simple statement. They caused it, we're fixing it.
More on that story in about 15 minutes. Low 20s with clear skies right now. More clouds today. A high of 33 in the city. It's going to feel like 20 degrees with that wind chill. We'll have a calm wind, but it's going to be cold.
Does the NASDAQ make you cool?
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance, providing direct car insurance rates side by side with other insurance carriers. Customers can see rates and find an option that works for their needs. Now that's Progressive. Learn more at progressive.com.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. Good morning to you. Walmart is moving from the New York Stock Exchange to the NASDAQ market. It's the biggest company to ever make the switch from platforming its stock down on New York's Wall Street to a company with a showroom on New York's Times Square. The thing is, NASDAQ has a cool kids growth through tech vibe, and it's where the stocks of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and NVIDIA live. To understand this better, let's bring in Jay Ritter, professor of finance at the University of Florida. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's be fair to Walmart here, right? You think of them as a big box retailer, but they have a sizable online presence that is a stiff competitor for tech company Amazon.
Absolutely. Indeed, because of the growth in their online business and successful competition against Amazon, Walmart is now selling at a higher price-earnings ratio than most of the so-called Magnificent Seven.
You know, it's a popular way to invest these days is to buy the whole S&P 500 index. And so if you're in that index, companies stand to benefit just by virtue of that inclusion. Is there a kind of bump that Walmart might get for being included on the NASDAQ market, which is not an index in itself?
By moving to NASDAQ, Walmart is able to be not only in the S&P 500 index, but also in NASDAQ's QQQ index for the 100 largest companies on NASDAQ. And while not as much money is indexed there as with the S&P 500, some is, and an estimate is another $20 billion is going to be invested in Walmart as a result.
Now, if you go visit NASDAQ, it's computer-driven. You go over to the New York Stock Exchange, it's secretly computer-driven, but there are still some humans wandering around. That's where you still get the still photographs at the end of a bad market days over at the New York Stock Exchange. Do you think the New York Stock Exchange needs to do some rethinking about its brand?
Not necessarily. There are many markets where the individual stocks get traded. So just because a stock changes from the New York Stock Exchange to NASDAQ where it's listed, that doesn't actually mean that much of the trading volume is going to be changing. It is still the case that the New York Stock Exchange does provide certain certification. And in recent months, NASDAQ has been under a little bit of scrutiny because of a lot of penny stock IPOs that have been listing there, many of which have been manipulated and most of which have crashed and burned.
Jay Ritter at the University of Florida, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, as always.
All right, let's do the numbers. Stock index futures up just a bit. Dow and S&P futures up 0.1% each. NASDAQ futures up 14 points. That's less than 0.1%. The 10-year interest rate is down slightly, 4.16% now, with the guardians of interest rates at the Fed starting their two-day meeting later this morning. Consumers are feeling worse about their current and future financial situations. That's among key findings from the latest survey of consumer expectations out this week from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Marketplace's Carla Javier reports.
Consumers have greater awareness of what's going on in the economy than they get credit for, says NerdWallet's Elizabeth Renter.
Most of us shop for groceries, most of us buy gasoline, and in that way, we can be in tune with what inflation is doing, even if we're not watching the numbers that come from the BLS.
And with government reports delayed or canceled due to the shutdown, consumer expectations are especially useful, says Justin Wolfers at the University of Michigan.
So in the absence of that hard data, looking instead to how people are feeling becomes all the more important.
And how people feel can actually impact the economy.
If I'm worried about losing my job next year, I might pull back a little bit, tighten the purse strings.
That could affect businesses, which could affect hiring. You get the idea. When Vicki Bogan at Duke looked at the latest survey from the New York Fed, she noticed somewhat mixed findings.
You could say employment expectations improved slightly.
But the survey did show that people think medical costs will increase.
Medical costs are one of the leading causes of bankruptcy for households in general.
Another key takeaway, consumers told the New York Fed that they expect the inflation rate to remain steady over the next year. I'm Carla Javier for Marketplace.
And the environmental group, the National Resources Defense Council, wants more people to use recycled toilet paper. In its latest scorecard, the group gives failing grades again to some of the biggest toilet roll brands, which are largely made by cutting down trees, often in Canada. The NRDC claims that if every American used just one roll of recycled, 100% recycled, it would be like getting 72,000 cars off the road for a year. Now, Whole Foods and Trader Joe's 100% recycled, among some others, did get A+, and the NRDC praised Procter & Gamble for breaking out of the F category finally with its sustainably certified bamboo toilet paper. This is drawn from the NRDC's 7th annual report titled The Issue with Tissue.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Odoo, offering software that provides building blocks for creating a custom software suite. Odoo, what is supported by Odoo, offering software that provides building blocks for creating a custom software suite. Odoo, what businesses need. And by Bitwarden Password Manager. Bitwarden is built to secure online shopping accounts during the holiday season or anytime. Learn more at bitwarden.com.
There's a battle brewing over who's going to regulate artificial intelligence. Some states have stepped in, but the Trump administration is now trying to head that off. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer reports.
President Trump says he'll sign an executive order this week to establish what he calls one rule on AI. He says too many state rules will keep the U.S. from leading the global AI race. Since there's no broad federal legislation, states have enacted their own laws. The National Conference of State Legislatures says 38 states adopted or enacted around 100 AI measures this year. For example, Oregon prohibits AI from using licensed professionals titles such as registered nurse, and North Dakota prohibits people from using AI-powered robots to harass others. It's not clear that President Trump can block these state laws. His executive order could face legal challenges. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
Our producers are Tamar Fagan, Ashley Rodriguez, Ariana Rosas, and Erica Soderstrom. Our senior producer is Alex Schroeder. Our supervising senior producer is Meredith Gerritsen-Morby. In Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio. This is the Marketplace Morning Report from APM, American Public Media.